outcome. We will start with the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian.
Yes, today in Council, my ministry presented two memos. One is for Council to approve the national policy for the protection and assistance of trafficked persons in Nigeria. And the second memo is the memo on the protocol for identification, safe return, and rehabilitation of trafficked persons in Nigeria. These memos are very essential to what the NAPTIP do, that's the National Agency for the Trafficking in Persons, and they will help to guide our work and action as regards to the protection and assistance of trafficked persons. The two memos were graciously approved by Council, and we are very grateful to Council for that. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen of the press, today the Ministry of Women Affairs presented a memo on the National Gender Policy to the Federal Executive Council. This memo is a revised National Gender Policy 2021 to 2026. It represents a set of minimum standards expected of Nigerian government to meet its mandate for gender equality, good governance, accountability, and being socially responsive to the needs of its vulnerable group. Equity remains the foundation of the core principle of Agenda 2030, which says, leave no one behind. I want to put on record that Mr. President has done so much to support the women through its numerous pro-women projects. This memo today that has been approved by Council has gone again to clearly state the fact that Mr. President is committed to make a difference as far as women issues are concerned. This memo has also come at the right time. I'm sure you are all aware that the whole of month of March is set aside by the international community, the United Nations, that concerns women and women's contribution towards national development. I seize this opportunity to thank Mr. President on behalf of all Nigerian women for this gift of the approval of this memo at this time as we celebrate the International Women's Day. On behalf of Nigerian women, we say a big thank you.
Good afternoon. Mine was not actually a memo. All I attempted to do was to inform Council on progress made so far with respect to the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. In other words, the plan that we have for the evacuation of Nigerians stranded in Ukraine. First, let me start by saying that we expressed our sincere appreciation of the pains that parents and relations of Nigerians that may have been caught up in this war in Ukraine may be going through. We share their pains because as parents, we know the agony that we must all be going through now. To have a loved one that is caught up in such a situation that he has no control over, and especially very innocent young students. And to also inform Council that the President has graciously given us approval, along with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, to do the best we can, to do the needful, in other words, to evacuate those Nigerians that are willing to come back home. I did inform Council that on the whole, we have some say about 7,100 Nigerians, a conservative estimate, both the registered and the unregistered. We assume that we have that number of Nigerians living there. But a good number of them being students who may have been caught up in this war in Ukraine. And to say that evacuating such a number is certainly not an easy task. But we're also not unmindful of the fact that some Nigerians may decide of their own not to even come back home. But our responsibility and our duty is to ensure that we do the best we can to provide them the opportunity to come back if they do choose to come back. And therefore, we made an effort, along, like I said, with, say, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and other agencies of government. In fact, we've held a series of interministerial meetings to see how best we can address this matter as quickly as possible. But again, as you would appreciate, there are issues of resources involved. And this is where Mr. President's involvement has been very helpful. And that has enabled us to conclude arrangements to actually dispatch 3 aircraft to 3 different countries to evacuate our citizens. These countries include Poland, Hungary, and Romania. We have some numbers. I think in Poland we have about, how many? 400 Nigerians. In Hungary we have about 960, and those and such numbers. And like I said, all these agencies are pooling resources to ensure that these aircraft leave today for these countries in order to evacuate our nationals from those countries. In a nutshell, actually, what we decided, that was what we thought as a ministry, we should inform Council of efforts that have been made so far. And of course, we intend to run as many shifts as possible, depending upon the numbers, again, that make themselves available. These numbers we're talking about may not be all, because there may be some that have crossed on their own. There may be some that have made some private arrangements that we may not have known about. But at least our missions out there have reached out to the student union bodies in all the institutions where they are located, given them all the numbers for purposes of contact, told them what borders to go to where it was possible, so as to make the evacuation process as smooth as possible. Even this morning, I've been in touch with some of these missions, especially Poland and Romania, and they've assured us that the numbers that they have are very much accommodated, well accommodated. They are feeding them, and they are all ready for the evacuation exercise. This we thought we should tell, or we should inform members of the Council, and through your good selves, to also tell Nigerians that the Nigerian government is making every effort to ensure that as many of our citizens as have indicated interest to come back will be evacuated. I thank you very much.
I think just before the questions, there was also a memo presented by the Minister for Aviation, which got approval for the supply and installation of 2 sets of complete high-capacity passenger security screening systems for the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, and the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. There was also approval gotten by the Aviation Minister for the approval for the supply and installation of airfield ground lightning materials for the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, and the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and also the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano. Questions? Yeah, Gloria, Channels TV.
Thank you very much, my dear sister. Yes, what happened yesterday was most unfortunate and a big show of shame. But I urge all Nigerians to help us pray for the men that killed this bill yesterday in the National Assembly. And I want to assure you that all hope is not lost. I've reassured Nigerian women that we should not be daunted, we should remain resilient, and we have already put in place strategies. Last night we all met, the key civil society organizations and other women activists. We are strategizing with the female members in the both houses of assembly, and I want to assure you that Nigerian women will not give up. We will keep pushing until we achieve the affirmative action. Other strategies are also put in place, which I will not disclose now. But we are putting strategies towards the 2023 elections. And we know what to do by the grace of God. Okay, yes. There was a lot of advocacy has been put in place, but they were simply bent on doing what they wanted to do. However, we are not giving up. We will continue to intensify advocacies right to the local government level, up to the ward level. And the outcome of our advocacy now will show by the time we go into the next election that is very much around the corner. What happened yesterday, as I said, came again, unfortunately, on the first day of March, being the month to acknowledge and celebrate women. However, what happened today in Council is a big relief and is a reassurance of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration that he believes in women and that this administration will continue to support all issues that will support women towards national development. However, my next prayer is that the National Assembly should support the executive, because the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary must work in harmony in order to ensure that Mr. President succeeds. Thank you. Yes, it clearly shows that the men that were against the bill don't have any respect for women. It's clear. But I'm not generalizing all the men in the National Assembly. We have the figures. 72 men in the House of Representatives voted in support of the bill. So I'm not generalizing. We are saying that for those that don't believe in it, we will continue to intensify our advocacy for them to believe in gender equality and the role that women can play when they are on the decision table to make Nigeria better. Pardon? We believe in democracy. We believe that everyone has the right to test his popularity by contesting. But again, you will agree with me that women and youths are the greatest voters. And if you negate this huge number of the population of the country that are always consistent to queue in and vote, come rain, come sunshine, then something will surely happen that will change the narrative this coming election, by the grace of God.
Thank you. Thank you. Honourable Minister of State, Foreign Affairs.
The questions are very straightforward. You want to know how many were supposed to be airlifting from Romania. Am I right? Romania, we have a figure of about 940, like I said, 940 people that have been registered so far. Maybe between the time we had this number and now, the number may have increased. I wouldn't know. But tentatively, we have this figure of 940. In Slovakia, we have 150. And all these figures are as at yesterday. In Poland, we have 350. You asked, which is talking about the aircraft. I said Max Air, somebody said Max Air and Air Peace. Yes, these are the two airlines. Air Peace has 2 aircraft, while Max is providing 1. Talking about students that are trapped in the town that has been, did you say, captured by the Russian troops? Well, I guess we want to assume that the Russian armed forces would obey, of course, the rules of engagement. They know the laws. They know the rules about civilians that are caught up in situations such as this. We want to assume that they will respect international law and that they will ensure that no harm comes to them. Don't forget, even our missions now, even our mission in Ukraine has had to be evacuated. So if for any reason any Nigerian is left behind, we are very, very prayerful, we are very hopeful that no harm shall come to them, once, of course, they're in some shelter or whatever place that they're hiding. And we've also, don't forget, we have had to summon both the Russian and the Ukrainian ambassadors to our ministry. And we did emphasize to them the need for their troops to ensure that they do not do anything that will harm the lives of innocent citizens. We've seen video clips going on, making the rounds about the treatment that has been supposed to have been meted out to black people who were in queues, who were in buses and all that. All these were brought to the attention of the ambassadors, and we have expressed our displeasure at these developments and demanded that they do something about this. I guess that is, have I answered all the questions?
I asked how much the president approved for the evacuation.
Oh, he approved some, how many? Say something like, is it $5 million or so dollars? $5 million? And don't forget that includes, oh no, okay, I understand it's something in the region of $8 million. $8 million.
It's 8.5 million for 5,000 Nigerians. From which minister?
It's a joint.
Well, it's a joint, and it's the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development that presented the memo, and we got the approval. That was why I was coming in.
It's not a matter of Ministry of Foreign Affairs alone.
Yes.
In fact, it
that
also
was why
involves...
I was coming in to provide the accurate figure so that we are not misquoted.
If you do not buy
Okay.
My sister. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs wrote a memo to the President seeking for funding to enable us, conduct this exercise. She has told you herself that the memo was in the tune of $8.5 million, which Mr. President has graciously approved.
Okay.
That, like I said, includes, that provision entails arrangements to evacuate not less than 5,000 Nigerians. Whatever happens, you can be rest assured we are going to run any number of shifts that it will involve. Don't forget that it also involves taking care of those Nigerians that may decide not to come back. It also includes some assistance. The feeding that may have been done by the missions under whatever arrangements. And the missions themselves are they're hamstrung. They are also in very, very dire situations. So it's a whole gamut of activities that are involved. Sorry?
Okay. I think that's it.
That is why the exercise is beginning today. This exercise we're talking about begins today.
Okay. All right. And the figure for the approval that the aviation minister got.
It's 8.5.
No, aviation.
No,
aviation.
It's
Okay,
a different one. Yeah, 8.5 million for the evacuation, but for the approval for the supply and installation of 2 sets of complete high-capacity passengers security screening systems in Lagos and Abuja, the sum is 1,193,630,980 naira. That's 1,193,630,980 naira. And then for the second approval for the supply and installation of airfield ground lighting materials for Muritala Mohammed Airport in Lagos, Nnamdi Azikiwe in Abuja, and Malama Aminu Kano in Kano, the contract sum is 2,329,961,099 naira 60 kobo. 2,329,961,099 naira and 60 kobo. Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Ministers.
Thank you.